There you go. It is 6 o'clock, and I call the July 18th City Commission meeting to order. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Hassel.
Here.
Commissioner Butler.
Here.
Commissioner Motta.
Here.
Commissioner Morse.
Present.
Mayor, we have 4 commissioners present. The quorum of 3 has been met.
Great. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business is a proclamation for the National Day of the Cowboy. Kylie, Jonathan, and Sally, whoever's here, come on up.
No cowboy hats.
That's a fun day.
Howdy.
Hi, it looks like Kylie didn't make it.
Not you make it. Okay, just.
Okay.
All right, and the PR lady's here, that's good. Okay. All right, well, we'll read the proclamation, then you guys can comment about the festivities coming up. Whereas pioneering men and women known as cowboys have established America's frontiers, including the settlement of Manhattan, and the cowboy embodies honesty, integrity, courage, compassion, and determination. And the cowboy is an excellent steward of the land and its creatures. The cowboy traditions have long been a part of the American landscape, and the legend of the cowboy came to life on the Kansas prairie during the era of the great cattle drives. And the work of the modern cowboy is honored by the Flint Hills Discovery Center, and a local celebration of the National Day of the Cowboy will be held in the Manhattan area during 2023. And a National Day of the Cowboy has been designated by the United States Congress and the Governor of Kansas to be celebrated on the 4th Saturday of July. Now, therefore, I, Mark Hattasall, the mayor of the city of Manhattan, do hereby proclaim July 22nd, 2023 as National Day of the Cowboy in Manhattan, and encourage all citizens to observe the day with appropriate ceremonies, activities, and yee-haws. So, here we go.
Oh, thank you very
Would you
much.
say a few words here? Come on over. I'll wave to you.
Well, thank you. I think appropriate activity to do around here at National Day of the Cowboy would be to join us Saturday at the Flint Hills Discovery Center, where our celebration is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and we'll have all sorts of activities. We will have a branding demonstration. The K-State Rodeo Club, who's a great partner, their volunteers will be there doing roping, showing how to do roping, and they'll have their mechanical bull there you can ride, and we'll have tons of other kids' activities. And we're also going to have a dunk tank, and several city employees have volunteered to be in it, and if you're interested, please let us know. But it's just going to be a fun day for all, and so please join us at National Day of the Cowboy. I guess you'd like a picture. Okay.
Get that out of here. There we go.
Thank you.
You betcha. Commissioners, are there any comments you'd like to weigh in on?
I just want to make one comment on property taxes, because we've had all kinds of, different things printed in the paper and areas like that. And of course, we started with a rate that we published, which is around 50 mils. And of course, that's our starting point. It can't go any higher. And as I was looking through all the various appraisals, I've got 2 pieces of property. One, the value didn't go up on it. So that would mean I translate into a drop in property taxes. The other one, the appraiser increased the value up to by $48,000. So that's a 17% increase. So the mill levy we passed, or projecting to start with, would on that piece of property give me about 11% tax increase, which was not our intention. We were hoping to try to keep it to 6, but that's going to be a bit difficult. And I think each individual property owner is going to have to look at their own individual situation, because it's going to depend on if it's a commercial property, how much the appraiser raised it, or if it stayed flat, and it's going to be different for every single person. So when we try to publish this is the average, it's really sort of meaningless when you trace it back to, an individual taxpayer.
Just to add to that, because of course we did have some back and forth, and the Mercury published like a 9% tax number, which then led people to ask me the question, why do you need 9% more in revenue for the city? Can't you get along with less than that? I'm only getting, say, 4% or whatever. What we passed, it will generate 6%, at least according to the projections, and the mill levy is going to generate 6% more in property tax than was collected the year before. And hence why we said, and our direction to staff was we want a mill levy that was capped at 6%, and we would not go over that. So that's the extra money, so to speak, year over year we'll have is 6%. And again, we can't go over that number, we can still go under that number. So hopefully if anyone's listening, there was some confusion, that'll take care of it.
Linda, you got something now?
I just want to point out, too, that if people are unhappy with the property tax system, they need to talk to their legislators, because the property assessment system in this state is determined by the legislature, and it hasn't changed over a lot of years. And they're the ones that make the rules that the county assessor has to go by. So you may look at us as being the bad people, but I just want you to know there's a whole process, and I don't think there's anyone's evil. It's just that we're all doing the best we can. We want our employees to stay. We want to retain them. There's a certain amount of minimum growth that we have to accommodate in order to keep employees, in order to maintain our equipment and buildings. And so there's just a reality there. Thank you.
Oh, and I think part of what helps get you to the 6% average property tax thing is the fact that, well, houses are going to go up 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever that yours might be. Apparently this year's the year that commercial properties will go up only 3 or 4 or 2 or 5%, and so that's what brings down it to 6%. While residential is high, next year maybe commercial will be high. But I think the first step some other people have talked about the idea of getting them to just revalue every 5 years instead of every year or two or something, where there's a constant increase. If they could just hold it steady, so at least you'd be close to the same level for 4 or 5 years before it would take a jump, and it would probably take bigger jumps, but that might be an idea. I was asked to bring to the commission's attention, with the passing of Ira Haynes, longtime Aggieville businessman and stalwart down there, potentially naming Triangle Park, pay attention now, naming Triangle Park after him. I don't know what the process of naming any park is, but as we get to the point where we're redoing Triangle Park, if we start getting to the point where maybe we could name it after somebody, we should put his name on the list to be considered, because the Aggieville people would like to try to honor him somehow like that, if possible. But there's a lot of people, like Bill Frost, should be honored with some kind of a park or something in his name too. So we'll put him on. I don't know how that process works, but I'd like to throw his name into consideration for a Triangle Park naming at some point.
So we can certainly take that under advisement, and just, it's a little bit more complicated with Triangle Park because it's actually university property. It's not really a park,
All right.
even though we call it a park.
Yeah.
So we'd have to go through their processes too. But, certainly there may be something else that could be done, some other memorial or plaza or something else that could be developed, and especially as we go through some of the design processes.
The Memorial Barber Chair or something out in the park or something like that. So, all right, that is it for commissioner comments. Then we will move on to the consent agenda, which are items of a routine or housekeeping nature, or items which have been previously reviewed by the city commission. A commissioner may request the item be moved for separate discussion and consideration. Commissioners, do you have any questions about any items on the consent agenda?
No particular one, but the county commission at one of their recent meetings had a list of all of the properties for which the owner has gone to the Board of Tax Appeals. And sometimes when I look at a project here, And those businesses are on the list, and they're appealing 3 years' worth of property taxes. It gives me heartburn to just be quiet and not say anything. But I really want the commission, I would like to ask, and there's just one on here this time, but I would like for the county appraiser to maybe have a meeting with the city commission to brief us on, this spreadsheet it's the biggest and the big boxes and the large, and they're all, so every time the BOTA forgives $200,000 for a big box store here in this town, the residential property taxes and the other commercial property taxes, folks are higher and we have to pay more. And so I want us to know who they are. And right now it's, under, nobody pays any attention to it, but it's a big deal. And I hope that over time we're able to, we've tried to have some influence on the process so that to change what that dark store theory that goes through the Board of Tax Appeals. But it's I'd like a work session with the appraiser to just and I don't care who, to explore whether we have any recourse. So when we give away a parking lot, for example, for $1, and the person builds on it, and 2 years, 3 years later, they're on this list appealing their property taxes. So while there's an expectation that we will collect property taxes over the next 10 years to pay for that parking lot, there's no parking lot being paid because they're appealing their property taxes. So there's a balance that we need, and something's out of whack. And I'm gonna go to one of the BOTA hearings. I just want to know more about it. I want to change it somehow, in my own little way, whatever that may be. I'm sure bigger than I have tried, but we need to bring some attention to it and put light on it, because it's pretty. That's why they call it a dark store.
Well,
Okay.
that should be all public information.
Yep,
so we should be
absolutely,
able
and
to
it
have
is,
that
but it's
problem.
just not very visible. With that, if
But no, we got to throw it out for
Okay.
public comment in
All
case
right.
any of these people. John, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just want to ask, did we sell any parking lots for $1, Ron?
Not specifically. I mean, that was the transaction, but it had a development agreement that had a minimum investment of 40 million, or they had to pay 2.7 million of the value. So, yeah, I appreciate the commissioner's comments, and maybe it's a city-county agenda item. We can certainly make that request for the appraiser. She obviously made a presentation at a recent intergovernmental meeting, so that's something. I'm not sure all of these are, I'm not sure whether or not they're just normal folks taking advantage of their constitutional right
No.
to appraise, to protest their taxes, or if it is some of the dark stores. I mean,
it's a corporate decision.
Yeah.
And they're taking advantage of every little loophole they can, and it's happening across the country. Walgreens, Walmart, they're doing it in every city, in Kansas and other states. It started in Michigan and Wisconsin, and it's just spread.
I'm happy to make the request.
Yeah, please.
Commissioners,
I just
for a
think-
future city-county meeting.
I mean, the intergovernmental meeting got us started thinking about it, but we need to drill down a little bit more.
Yep. Finding loopholes, that's the American way. All right, I'm going to throw open for public comment. If there's any item on the consent agenda that you would like to comment on, please come forward, state your name, write your name down. You got 5 minutes. Do you have public comment? No. Okay, all right, I will close public comment. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, commissioners?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Morse,
Yes.
Mayor Hassel.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, we will move into the general agenda, which has one item, which is considering authorizing a construction contract for some roads up by campus. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you. Commissioners. Brian Johnson, City Engineer. I actually got 2 items for you tonight. The first one is just kind of a midsummer construction update, so I get everybody updated on where we're at with our multiple construction projects. I'm sure, as you know, we have a lot of orange cones around the city right now. Things are progressing pretty well, and I got a list here in just a minute to go through. And then the second one is an action item for moving some phasing for Kimball Denison intersection from 2024 to 2023. We're asking that because KDOT has recently given us some information that they are going to close Tuttle Creek Boulevard between K13 and K113, complete closure in 2025 and into part of 2026. So while KDOT has TCB closed, we obviously don't want to close Kimball or Marlatte because we're going to need somewhere for those 22 to 26,000 vehicles a day to access between Sethchild and TCB. So with that, just a real quick overall summer impacts and kind of where we're at on schedule. Kimball Grandmere Parkway, obviously closed. It'll open sometime that first week of August. We will be putting down temporary asphalt late this week or the first part of next week. Then we'll be striping it, doing some roadside safety improvements before we open it. We do anticipate it to be open that first week of August with that temporary roadway. Remember, that project actually runs through the end of the year, but there will be that temporary roadway for 1 lane in each direction on Kimball and then access into Grandmere Parkway. Browning Avenue in front of Anthony School did close May 30th. We do anticipate that being open August 1st. The contractor has recently completed from the gymnasium all the way north back to Pecanwood, so that's done now and they're backfilling, getting ready to go to that second phase. College Heights, Sunset, and Denison, including the intersection. The intersection is about it's about 3/4 of the way done. We anticipated it being done this week. Probably be next week now. We had some supply issues. Apparently we have no red dye for concrete in the city and we're trying to get some imported in from our suppliers. So once we get that done, there's just a small piece left to do. US 24 and Levy, that's all done as far as lane building and operational. We do have the signals on site. We do have one component that is back ordered. And this is probably the one that I'm the most concerned about, is getting that signal operational by August 1st. With back orders and electronics, we're seeing the same supply issues that everybody else in Kansas is. We were told that it's going to be here next week, but then again, we were told it was going to be here last week. So we're a little bit apprehensive until we have it in hand, but supposedly it's going to be here next week, and then they have maybe just a few days to hang the signals and get the signal operational. Everything else is operational at that intersection. KDOT mill and overlay on 24 is done. They got some striping, some shoulder work to do, but that should be done within a few weeks. Fremont, 14th to 11th, that'll be closed throughout the fall, probably close to Christmas time before that opens. We do have some supply issues with that one too. We're having some issues getting reinforcing for the pavement, so we're waiting for some suppliers on those also. Points, 6th and Juliet, that is open. It's
On the Fremont, are they gonna be able to get like 11th to 12th open before they tear up?
Yes,
13th
that's
to
correct.
14th? Okay.
Yep,
So it's-
yep.
While the project will be ongoing, parts of it will be open.
correct. They're either North Manhattan or 12th Street has to be open at one time.
Okay.
So when they close North Manhattan, then 12th Street will come open. So you'll be able to use 11th and 12th.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Yep. Points, 6th and Juliet, that project is done. Again, we're waiting on signals and some components. They're supposed to be here next week. Again, until we have them on hand, we're a little bit nervous about all the electronic components being here. They're on the bill of lading, but we've had things on bills of lading that haven't shown up. So until we have them on hand, obviously we're a little bit concerned, but that one is done and we do have the poles and mast arms on hand.
I'm
Yes.
getting really used to not having a light there, and I like it.
Yes. You're not the only one that has mentioned that. Our guess is when the school starts, because of
It'll
the
be
bus
chaos.
traffic, there will probably be a lot of different opinions once
Summer
the
is a
schools.
different time.
Yeah. Fort Riley Boulevard between 10th and Juliet, that's completed and all lanes are back open again. That's kind of the updates for the projects that we have ongoing. All of them are on schedule. They're coming along nicely. We do have supply issues. We have labor issues just like every other city in the state. But overall, our contractors are meeting deadlines. Any questions about anything that's under construction now?
Just that it's helpful to have an update. Fremont looks like it's been stopped dead for weeks, so,
Yeah, they got the curb and gutter done the other day. They were getting ready to do the main line pouring, and then their reinforcing steel didn't show up, and so we're chasing
it's
that.
just good to have an explanation and
Yeah.
have the public know.
I wanted to take this opportunity to try to
Yeah.
get that information out, and I do want to give a shout out to our PIOs too. They help us a lot with getting information on the web. Engineering division's 8 people short, so we have a really tough time keeping up on the website, and I know that a lot of people use that, and I apologize for it not being up to date, but the PIOs have stepped up and really helped us with that, so,
You didn't mention Hayes Drive casement.
yeah.
That's going to take till the end of the year before Hayes is open.
End of October is what they're telling us still.
But that-
so-
There's no shortage of technology parts and stuff we need for that thing in
Oh,
particular.
yeah, yeah, and all of that that's all Buy American, it's all made in America, it's all Davis-Bacon because it's with the core project. So we had to get, special waivers for stainless steel parts and bolts and all kinds of stuff, but they're still saying that one's on schedule for October. That intersection, if you recall, just a few weeks ago, we did apply for a safety grant for Casement and Hayes for a signalization safety grant, so we should hear back from KDOT here before the end of the year, but we certainly met the counts and the volumes to meet for a warrant at Casement and Hayes, so we will see what KDOT says.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, let's talk a little bit about North Campus Phase 11. And if you recall, Phase 11 is the Kimball-Denison intersection, which is kind of the last piece of this 13-phase North Campus project that we've been going under. We've been working around the intersection so that we have good detour routes, and now we've kind of come to the heart of the matter with the intersection. As we've talked to the stakeholders in the area, including federal, state, K-State, you've got NBAF, you've got BRI, you've got Vet Med, Recreation Services, MFD has been a big player in it. Rec Services Foundation, rowing, it's a big list of people we've been meeting with over the last several months. And this is kind of the checklist of what we've heard from those stakeholders as far as what their access needs to be. And it's pretty complex. So we have a pretty complex phasing plan. We had one kind of nailed down, and then KDOT kind of threw us a screwball. So we're kind of reacting as we hear from KDOT what they're going to do. I did get a confirmation email from KDOT this morning that the project is funded for the 2 roundabouts, and they are going to do it in 25. That's the date that they have set. So with our phasing, KDOT will close TCB from K13 to K113 from the Dam Road, Tuttle Creek Dam Road to Seth Child in 2025 through early 2026. So that eliminates us doing any work on Kimball in 25 and 26, because I can't have Kimball and TCB closed. I can't force all of that traffic onto Marlatte. Marlatte would functionally just fall apart. Again, most traffic will shift to Marlatte and Kimball, and we can't have those closed at the same time. Denison, south of Kimball, cannot be closed for football season. That's a big that's a big exiting path for Bill Schneider Stadium and for the Olympic Drive area. They all come out that way. They go down south, down Denison, past BRI, Vet Med, Kerr. So that's a big exit way that they use. The foundation building will open July of 2024, so I'm going to have roughly 200 to 300 more people a day going through that corridor, so you're looking at probably another 1,000 vehicle trips a day. The intersection of Kimball and Denison needs to be open during school year if at all possible, and that's one that's really difficult to manage. We think we can accommodate that. The phasing plan we have now, we think will work for that, but there is a lot of traffic that uses that intersection. It is a very critical corridor to get people in and out of K-State. Access to the fire station garage must be maintained at all times, and the ability to get back to Kimball as soon as possible is desired, using possibly the paved frontage road, which is what we're here tonight for. And then we need to keep the public from trying to use that same system and come back through the truck apron. So there's some public that needs to access Scott's building. Then we also have the fire access we have to have. So we've got a lot of stuff happening in a really small area. NBAF must always have access to their driveway on Denison. Their employees cannot go to the north entrance and come through the south because their security is not set up for that. They can't get back to their parking area. So that was one thing that they were pretty insistent upon. And then BRI Vet Med, they actually have semis daily that come back and go to their back building. So that posed another significant challenge with trying to get semis through their parking lot. When we actually met them on site, we met them on site 3 times now. They probably had 5 to 10 deliveries in the 1 hour that we were there each time. So they actually get quite a few semi deliveries. So again, the way we are seeing the fall of 2023 impacts, we believe Kimball will be completely open throughout the entire fall. The frontage road behind or between Grain Mill and Denison, we're here tonight to talk to you about getting authorization to build that this fall, and then work on Denison also north of Kimball. So we'd have those 2 pieces open, and then Kimball would close January 1 of 2024 through August of 2024. Again, get that Kimball Denison piece done prior to the KDOT closure. Again, Kimball Avenue, GMP, Grandmere Parkway will be 1-lane traffic each way for this fall, which is also a big corridor. Kimball carries a lot of traffic. Anderson Avenue, so we have a water line project on Anderson Avenue that's going to go to bid here probably within the next couple of weeks. We anticipate sometime around October for Anderson to go head-to-head between Sunset and Connecticut. When I say head-to-head, we're going to go maybe 4, 5, 6 blocks at a time so that you don't have to go all the way to Sunset to come all the way back to the foundation building. So we're going to do it in pieces and phases, 4 or 5 blocks at a time. And then also, KDOT is going to be reconstructing K177, so the bridge south to Johnson Drive on K177. That piece will be constructed this fall or reconstructed this fall. They have a bid in August. They have an early and a late start date. We've encouraged them to start as late as possible due to football traffic. Their late start date is like December 15th or something. We've asked them to start as late as possible so we can get through football season. That last game, I believe, is on Black Friday, so it's November.
Are we talking the big bridge?
Not the bridge, but the pavement between the bridge and Johnson Valley Drive. I got a map in
Thank
here.
you, that's good. Pavement.
I got a
okay.
map in just a
Pavement
second.
between, all right, thank you.
So again, this is how we see our phasing through 2025. Obviously, TCB would be closed in 25, so we can't be on Kimball. So our phasing would have this frontage road, this little piece of Denison in the fall or this fall, and then this piece of Denison in the fall and the winter to be completed by January 1st. And then this piece and this piece would be bid in December with an anticipated closure mid-January. So we would start on Kimball in mid-January, leaving the intersection itself open so I could have north-south traffic up and down Denison. I could have east and west traffic on Kimball to the intersection. So that intersection would be open through the school year. And then in next year, then we would attack the 2 pieces of Denison to the south side of the intersection. Again, the frontage road, this piece is open, so there's no access on Kimball. We've eliminated all of these access points. So now you either have to go back to College or you have to go back to the signal to get onto Kimball. This is the piece that we're looking at building this fall with your concurrence. It would be this piece here. And what this would allow us to do, if you go back to this map, this would allow MFD to come out, go up Denison, come down the frontage road, down, get to the signal, and then leave. Without this red area done, MFD would have to come to Denison, go all the way to Marlatte, take Marlatte all the way over to College, come all the way down to College, get back to Kimball. So this is that piece that's going to be that cut through. Yes.
So, like basketball game traffic who park on the east side of the stadium or east side of Bramlage and stuff, they're not going to be encouraged to go up through that way to get around to East Kimball, are they?
So we met with KSU, PD, and with athletics a couple weeks ago. We're going to try to bring them down here and then through Olympic and then through the back gate.
Okay.
That's the route that they're looking at,
Coming in?
coming in and going out.
And out,
Yep.
okay.
That's the route that we're looking at as far as getting them in and out. Again, this intersection would be open, so you could come down, go through the intersection, through the back gate at Olympic. We do have another meeting August 2nd to finalize this. So then, once the frontage road, or once this area in red was done, once this was complete, then we would start on this little piece of Denison. And we've broken this into two pieces so that as they're working on the north half, MFD could come out, still access Kimball and go down Kimball. And then when they're working on the south half, which would just be a small piece, they could then come and go up Denison, out the frontage road, and then down. And then all of next year, when Kimball here is under construction, they could come up, use the frontage road, come back down again. So that's how we've laid out our phasing, or that's the way we see our phasing working through 25. That phasing plan does check all the boxes that we've developed through talking with stakeholders, and we've run this through them a couple of times, and they're pretty happy about it. As far as improvements go, obviously getting some turn lanes on Denison, as well as some restrictions on Kimball. The foundation will have restricted access, as will rowing, and then the intersection itself will have dual lefts and a northbound single right now. So there will be a dedicated right for northbound on Denison onto eastbound Kimball. About 550 vehicles an hour make that movement. So it's pretty intense movement. Back to the other projects again, Kimball Roundabout, this will be done by the end of the year. Four-legged roundabout going into Grand Mirror and then Kimball. This is the detour, this shaded purple route here is the detour route. This will be operational here probably within a month, probably within about 2 weeks. This will be stop sign controlled here, so you'll come down GMP, you'll stop, then make your right or your left. We are going to assign that 20 miles an hour because it's a work zone. Fines double, so if you do take that route, we've talked with our CPD already about enforcement. We're going to hit that for enforcement pretty hard because the other legs of Kimball are 40, so you're going to have to go from 40 to 20. So as you drive through there, make sure you drive slow because it is a construction zone. There's a lot of equipment around, and
You're gonna continue the marked detour, aren't you, for most of the traffic?
no. we're
You're
gonna
not.
take-
You're gonna
no,
take
no,
the detour
We're
down.
going to take the detour down.
All right.
Yep. And then this is the Anderson Avenue project that we were just talking about from Sunset to Connecticut. Again, not this whole piece is going to be closed at once. We're going to go in phases of 4, 5, 6 blocks so that if I live here, I don't have to drive all the way to Sunset to come all the way back to get to my house, or I don't have to drive all the way over here to come back and then get to my house. So there'll be a 4 or 5 block detour at a time.
Are you totally reconstructing it?
Complete
or-
rebuild. yes.
Rebuild, okay.
Yeah. It's actually a water line project that has driven this. I'm sure you all see Anderson.
Right.
There's potholes everywhere. So that's what really drove it. But while we are doing the water line work, it's a complete rebuild.
Yeah, that's okay, thank you.
Again, our KDOT projects this fall. So this is the bridge for 177. This is Johnson Road. So this will be head-to-head traffic through this area through the fall and into next year. And then our roundabouts to the north, I do want to say that these drawings are from our Setchild corridor plan. I don't know if this fly-through lane is actually going to happen. There was some debate about taking that fly-through lane out and just running it through a roundabout. I don't know where KDOT landed on that yet. So I don't want to promise that this fly-through lane is going to happen because I'm not sure. But this is that project.
When you say head-to-head, you mean 2-lane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, all right.
So there's the Setchild project, again, January 25 through January 26, full closure. So everything from here to, this is the dam here, to here will close. So you'll be able to come eastbound and go southbound, and you'll be able to go northbound to westbound. So you'll be able to come in and out of the city, you just won't be able to access between those 2 points.
And the other roundabout is gonna be delayed there at the, where you go up to the lake?
No,
No.
that's the same project.
levy? Okay.
You'll
So-
be able to go westbound.
Well, there are
and-
two roundabouts I'm
Correct.
thinking of. Okay, so they're gonna do both of them at the
That's
same
correct,
time?
yes.
Same time?
Yes,
I didn't realize that, thank you.
yep. So you'll be able to go westbound
Yep.
to northbound, or you'll be able to go southbound to eastbound, but you won't be able to go west. So this leg here will be closed. Then we have one more project sometime in 2026. This has been funded by KDOT. It's actually a flyover bridge or flyover lane that comes out of Fort Riley Boulevard. I'm sorry, it comes out of Fort Riley, excuse me. Currently, when you come out of Fort Riley, I believe it's the Marshall Gate, come down the bridge and you have to merge into I-70 and you go about a mile and then you got to merge back out to get up the bridge. That lane is actually going to continue all the way through now. So when you come down the bridge, you're going to get your own lane eastbound all the way to here, and then you're going to take a bridge and go up and over I-70 and touch back down on K-18. So when you leave Marshall Field, your first stoplight will be Richards Drive. That'll be your first stop.
Yeah,
Very, very similar.
very smooth flyover type.
Yeah, Rob and I sat in a couple of meetings with KDOT on this. They had 4 or 5 different layouts.
Yeah,
We were very happy that they settled on this.
yeah.
They really didn't have the budget, but they saw that it was a great project and they came up with the extra money.
Well,
So,
they've tried several solutions and they're just clumsy.
yeah. For game day traffic, this is gonna work great. For
Yeah.
Fort Riley, it's gonna work great. You're gonna come out of Fort Riley, you're gonna get your own lane, and you won't see a stoplight till you get to Richards Drive.
And when that's,
2026.
oh, okay.
With that, I'll stand for questions on any of the projects we have going on.
When the levy project is over,
Uh-huh.
Casement Road is taking a beating.
We actually talked about
Did you?
some repairs on case.
Actually, we've got some repairs you said casement?
Yeah,
Yeah, we actually have some repairs on Hayes Drive ongoing right now.
Okay.
We had a discussion today about knocking out some of the worst sections on casement concrete-wise prior to school starting. And just a reminder, we did award a asphalt mill and overlay, a 2-inch mill, a new asphalt surface for the asphalt segment that's in there as well. So right now, we're kind of waiting on Schilling and their schedule. They're obviously spread pretty thin between KDOT and everything else going
I
on.
think Casement's taking a beating because of the.
More traffic,
The
yeah.
detour. So, you know, I'd hate to.
well, and there may be.
I'd hate to gom that up too.
There may be an opportunity when we do that safety grant to do some pavement
Yeah.
repair too, while we have the intersection closed down and traffic
Getting some
control.
potholes too.
Yeah.
Yep.
so.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
definitely gonna address the asphalt section this year, and then just some of the worst
Yeah.
concrete panels between now and when school starts. We're not gonna be able to do a complete
I don't
rebuild.
expect, I just need pothole, you know,
Yeah.
Yep.
as I drive it, I just think it's deteriorating, so after the Hayes, the levee is finished, it'll be in pretty bad shape.
It's kind of the same concerns we have for Kimball if we
Yeah.
don't get on Denison and Kimball before KDOT. I don't know that Denison and Kimball will make it through that detour. I double my traffic counts on Kimball for a year and a half while KDOT's closed. I don't know if Kimball's gonna, it's in pretty bad shape.
And Denison was done about the same time that Amanda Arnold was,
Yeah,
and they didn't hold up, Amanda Arnold didn't hold up well.
yeah,
And
it's showing its
I
age.
noticed the corners on the concrete pieces.
If we don't approve this tonight, it'd probably be 2027 before we got the Denison and Kimball. And I don't know if Denison and Kimball would still be there in 2027.
Would hold up.
We'd probably end up putting $250,000 to $500,000 of temporary asphalt on it just to keep it together so I can get to 2027.
All righty, thanks, Brian. Any other questions right now? We'll throw it open to public comment. If anybody would like to comment on this, what we're gonna be voting on potentially is the contract to build the frontage road off of Denison over to the drain science area. Hearing no comments, I will close public comment. And commissioners, all right, I'll read the motion. You ready?
I just want to make a comment. I appreciate, the effort on looking at all the detours and possible things, because people are always saying, you know, that we don't do a good job at that, but I beg to differ. I think you have done a good job on that, and we gotta fix the roads, but as you pointed out, we can't do them all on the same day. And so this is well thought out, especially integrating it with KDOT's project, so appreciate the work on that.
We have to race in the summer and do as much as we can, because once school starts again, it's worse by 2 or 3 times, so.
Well, I move that we approve an alternative delivery method per Charter Ordinance Number 62, Section 3, to authorize city staff to finalize and the mayor and city clerk to execute a construction contract with Ebert Construction of Wamego in the amount of $2,943,360.24, and approve resolution number 07-1823C, authorizing the project and issuing bonds for a portion of the North Campus Corridor Phase 11, Project ST 2207. All contingent upon the city obtaining the necessary right-of-way from the Kansas State University to accommodate the extension of the Frontage Road, and also contingent upon a legal determination that the city has bonding authority from the project to finance the construction. If these contingencies are not met to the satisfaction of the city legal staff, the mayor and the city clerk shall not execute the contract, and the resolution shall be void.
I'll second the motion.
All right?
Under discussion.
Sure.
Since we're, it's unusual to have that language about
Contingency.
if we have the bonding authority. So could you explain that?
Sure, I'll take a stab at it, and that's one of the reasons Bill's here tonight as well, or Brian can speak to it also. So I'll just let you
Okay.
talk first.
So a couple of things. One, because KDOT notified us this within the last 6 or 8 weeks, we've been meeting with K-State trying to get the easements put together, rights-of-ways, all of those things that we have to do. Remember, when you're dealing with a state entity, those have to go to the Attorney General's office, and those take a while, and it's not quick. So we put that language in there in case the Attorney General would have some sort of issue with our easement language. We have several of the easements already in place with our North Detention Pond project that's just to the north of here. I was actually out there today looking at these 2 ponds. They're massive and they look really good. So we have some of those easements already in place that we can start construction. And then the other piece is, we believe this is going to be a public road. We still have to have those discussions with Kansas State University, whether it's public or private. It could be like Claflin through campus from Denison to North Manhattan, which is technically a private road, but everybody gets to access it. So we're still having those discussions with Kansas State University and with Department of Ag. We'll see kind of where those go, whether it is private or public. We also have to engage bond counsel too to make for sure that they're comfortable with it. All of these things happened in phase 6 and phase 9. They just happened in advance because we weren't squished for time like we are now. So that's why we had all that language in there in case something happens with the Attorney General's office or with Kansas State University or bond counsel, we can still back out of it.
I found the private right-of-way, the public right-of-way kind of confusing, just
It is, I
generally.
agree with you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about the quotes. So Frontage Road is a little over $1 million.
Correct.
And that's a 2-lane, right?
Well, it's 27 feet, so it
Yeah.
could operate
Cars,
as a
yeah.
3-lane. About 600,000 of that is storm sewer.
Okay,
The vast majority of it actually is storm sewer. And this is, since you're gonna
yeah.
ask that question, we actually are intercepting a large storm sewer interceptor, trunk interceptor running down this way and down Campus Creek. We're actually gonna intercept that and run it up north through our detention ponds. So we're taking about 20 to 25 acres of impervious area out of Campus Creek, and now we're gonna run it north.
How do you run it there?
Very carefully.
You don't have to pump it?
No.
No, okay.
No.
All right, don't answer anymore, I understand, okay.
It's 66-inch storm sewer, huge pipe, but we're taking several hundred
Deep.
CFS off of Campus
Yeah.
Creek. And we all know what problems we have with Campus Creek. So
Yeah,
this is kind of the linchpin of all of these discussions for the last 3 years with these detention ponds that we
Yeah.
built. And I got to shout out to Department of Ag and to Athletics, to the foundation. Not only did they donate the easements for those ponds, they also are paying for those ponds. So that's a big step. Kansas State University typically doesn't pay for detention.
yeah. No, I think it's a great partnership. I mean.
We've worked
this-
hard.
We couldn't do this without all
Absolutely
the
not.
parties participating.
Yep.
So I'm not so much bothered by the $1 million, God help me, for the frontage road. But it's the Denison Avenue piece that, how many feet is it north of Kimball? that
So it's
you're-
roughly 1,000 feet.
1,000.
You got to remember, it's going to go to 7 lane. So we're going to have 2 lanes north. We're going to have dual left turn lanes south, dual through lanes, and a right turn lane. So it's going to be a 7-lane intersection. Think of TCB and Bluemont.
And all you're building here, though, are just north of.
From here
Kimball,
to here.
yeah, Kimball north
Yeah,
to this red road.
correct. Yep.
Whatever, does that have a name? Does that have a name?
No, not yet.
Okay,
And there is about 300,000-400,000 of storm sewer in that also, because again, we're carrying that water north.
no, my
We're-
heartburn is the 1.8 million for it.
Okay.
And it's 1,000 foot. But it is like a much longer road because there are so many lanes.
There's so many lanes. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I'd like to be reassured, we're not doing anything east of Denison, like up toward the K-State's facilities up there.
So we've looked at some concepts with K-State Ag. We are not, all we're doing is we're building a little extension right here that's about 20 feet long. And we're doing that so that we can connect this parking lot to this road.
Okay, just get it off of Denison.
Yeah, now there are some concepts out there that we've looked at to potentially get rid of this access point.
I'm having trouble seeing what.
So their existing access on Denison.
Yes,
We've talked to them about closing that access and bringing this access down here.
okay.
And there's some concepts out there, maybe you've seen them, maybe you haven't. We've shared them with Kansas State University. There's some advantage to bringing those together. You could signalize that intersection. You could do a lot of things there if you brought all of that traffic to one point. But as of right now, this road is not in this contract.
As time goes on,
Yeah, and
things change, yeah.
we're going to negotiate some more with K-State and Department of Ag between now and December as far as what that looks like, but that is not in this contract.
K-State has big plans up on the hill.
They're magnificent plans. I don't know if you've seen them, but they
I
are.
saw probably tentative ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, they've raised the money. They've actually done a kickoff. They've got an architect on board and they're
They're
moving
building
forward.
an
Yeah,
arena.
very large, very nice one. Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
But my concern is the city building roads on K-State. To me, this frontage road is the first road that the city is building on K-State. Mostly K-State takes care of K-State, as you
Sure.
said earlier. And so I don't want, I understand that this is in our best interests. The detention ponds,
Well, and we're eliminating access. That's
stormwater, yeah,
the whole goal of the North Campus project was to reduce accidents. If you recall, there's roughly 225 to 250 accidents in this corridor.
yeah.
3 fatalities. I think there is 17 or 27 people taken to the hospital. I don't remember the exact numbers. They were in that range. We think we're going to cut that in half or less.
I'm just concerned about the future of the city budget too. We've put so much
as
money
we
into
are.
the North Campus corridor, and we need to take a breath and devote some of our resources to just the rest of the community. So anyway,
Thank you.
that's my pitch. Thank you.
So, so you said the detention ponds are going to be dry most of the time, right?
Correct, they are
They're not gonna
dry.
Be full of water for fishing and.
Nope. No, they are dry ponds, and they do hold the 100-year event. They actually hold the 500-year event.
Okay. Secondly, so you said so every one of those roads going into that Denison, Kimball will be 7 lanes. You said, right, everybody gets 2 left-hand turn lanes.
Dual lefts,
Everybody gets 2 straight-through
2
lanes.
throughs,
And then,
then you got 2 throughs coming at you. You got a right turn lane.
okay, so it's 7, it's not 7 in the same direction, it's
No.
7 total.
Yep, 7 total.
I was trying to put 14.
That's a lot, yeah.
So that would really.
No, yeah, you got the
Like a
dual coming at
runway.
you.
That'd really be Beijing-like
Yeah,
there, so.
yeah.
Okay.
I do want to thank, I just want to say what a simple solution the right turn arrows are at McCall and Tuttle Creek, that right turn.
Oh, yeah.
And the right turn off of Tuttle onto casement. And I mentioned to Ron the other day, maybe we could find a few other places where a right turn arrow, because those are like heaven.
Yeah, yep.
We've stopped there so many times, and they just keep the traffic flowing.
Yeah, the ones at Kimball and TCB are working well too,
Yeah,
those duals.
absolutely.
And this intersection northbound almost qualifies for a dual north right turn. We're gonna do a single right. We think the dual right was probably a little bit of overkill, and so we're gonna do single right, but every single leg of this intersection needs a right-hand turn. It's
Yeah.
400 vehicles an hour.
Exactly.
All righty, thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
have a motion on the floor. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Morse,
Yes.
Mayor Hassel,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
That is the extent of the general agenda. I move that we recess into executive session, discuss a mid-year review of the city manager pursuant to the exceptions set forth in KSA 754319B1, allowing for discussion of personnel matters, of non-elected personnel, and to resume the open meeting at 7:30 PM in the commission room. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Morse,
Yes.
Mayor Hassel,
Yes?
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We'll see you at 7:30.